Welcome back, boys, to another Pittman's Breakdown recap video from this past week's college and NFL football. Just like we promised, we have a punishment coming for, spoiler alert, Holden in this video. Holden was 2-4, which is a little better, not great. I was 3-3 this week. That'll get edited out. 3-3, 2-4.
Not a good.
Puts me at 12-7 for the year. Holden at 7-12 for the year. So punishment at the end of the video. We'll start with the NFL this week. First game was Seattle at Tennessee. Holden, how did it look?
Well, Titans won this game, which is huge for us. Now we're 2-1. Looked really good on defense, stopping Russell Wilson. I know they scored 27 points, but overall we looked really good. Most of those touchdowns were garbage touchdowns.
The last one was a garbage touchdown. They scored at the very end of the first half, and they scored at the very end of the last half.
Yeah.
So, but in between, take those out, we look good.
Offense looked really good too. Our running game, DeMarco Murray breaking that 75-yard touchdown run, waiting for him to break that. I said it during the game. I'm waiting for him to break one. He broke one.
DeMarco Murray silenced the haters this weekend. Lots of Derrick Henry talk this week. DeMarco Murray came in and ended that real quick.
My favorite part of the whole game, when Mariota got hit outside the line, or out of bounds, Taylor Wan getting in Richard Sherman's face.
Taylor Wan was about to eat that man.
He's a bad dude.
Bad dude. That was a good part, and it was probably my favorite part too. Funniest part of the game. Richard Sherman, 3 penalties on one play. Pass interference, which was skeptical. Pass interference, holding, and then personal foul for taking off the helmet, all in one play. 30 yards worth of penalties racked up, and then Titans ended up backing up out of good position into decent field goal position. Mr. Automatic Ryan Suckup buried it, so we were all good. But that was probably the funniest part of that game for me.
Yeah,
so again, Titans 33-27 over Seattle, holding on to first place in the AFC South. Just an update, we had Jacksonville Ravens. Jacksonville gave Baltimore the curb stomp, 44-7 in London. Woo. Then we had Indianapolis versus Cleveland. Indianapolis barely held that off at 31-28. And then we had
the Texans and
Patriots. But Patriots won that game, but the Texans looked the better team. The Patriots just have Tom Brady, and he was able to do Tom Brady things at the end and pull that one off.
But Deshaun Watson looked really good for the Texans.
The Texans are a completely different team with Watson compared to Tom Savage.
Yeah,
no question about it.
As a rookie, doing that was really impressive for them. So we got to watch out this week. But last NFL game we're going to talk about Atlanta-Detroit on a very controversial call.
It was a great game. Touchdowns back and forth, but it's almost not even what we're talking about, because the most incredible thing that happened was at the very end. There was third down and 8 from the 8-yard line. It's 3rd and goal from like the 8, and Stafford hits Golden Tate on like a slant route, and Tate like goes down to catch it and falls into the end zone, but he gets touched. And it's ruled touchdown on the field. He gets touched, and his knee is actually ruled down on the 1-yard line.
With 8 seconds left.
8 seconds left in the game, and they reviewed it for what we were watching. Like, we watched like a full half quarter.
Yeah, because we don't have
another
games.
We watched like a full half quarter of another game, and then then they like flip back to the replay on this TV, and we were like, they could not possibly be still replaying it.
And they were.
We came back like a good 10 minutes later, and they ruled him down by contact, automatic 10-second runoff.
Game
because
over.
The Lions didn't have a timeout. Game over.
Falcons move on to 3-0.
Most incredible ending. Incredible, not in like what a play. Incredible as in just like mind-boggling ending to a football game.
There's the NFL games of the week that we just recapped. And now moving on to college football, we'll start with, a really bad game. Alabama-Vandy, 59-0. Alabama coming into Nashville. There's not even a word for that. You can't say.
We could talk about it, and you could say that we knew Alabama was going to win, and we did. But I thought Vandy was at least going to fight in the first half, and they just got absolutely curb stomped. They got rocked. I don't even know.
Alabama won the game by a lot to Vandy's 0.
A lot to Vandy's 0. That's all you need to know about it if you didn't get to see it. Next game of the week was TCU at Oklahoma State. TCU 16th ranked team, Oklahoma State 3rd ranked team. TCU comes in, upsets Oklahoma State 44-31 on the road.
And it's not that like Oklahoma State played a bad game.
TCU was the better team.
Yeah, TCU was just straight up better. They're both really good teams. Oklahoma State, like they didn't look great, but they didn't look bad. It's not like they had a bunch of turnovers that messed them up. TCU just came into Stillwater, and showed the Cowboys what's up with them. So they're the real deal this year. Both of these teams were really good, but TCU was the better team.
They were.
Next game, big spider. Next game, we had Mississippi State at 17 at Georgia, who was 11, and well, this was essentially just
Georgia showed them what's up.
31-3.
When Georgia plays like that, they're going to the SEC championship game, and they're going to be the SEC East winner because we'll get to it. Florida didn't look good, Vandy lost, and Kentucky lost,
and Tennessee
Tennessee. I mean, they almost lost to UMass because they freaking suck. But anyway, that's a story for another time. But anyway, Georgia puts the curb stomping on Mississippi State, 31-3. That's about it. It wasn't even a game, really. Georgia, from the very beginning, was not losing that football game. So 31-3, Georgia up to first in the SEC East, or tied for first in the SEC East. First or tied for first, I'll have to find out and let you know. It'll be in the comments below. And then the last game that we predicted was LSU-Syracuse. LSU won that game 36-25.
26-35, LSU won the game.
There we go.
Very interesting game. LSU, everyone thought would come in there and beat them pretty handily, but didn't turn out to be like that. It was a pretty good game. Syracuse is not a bad team.
No.
But moving on, like looking forward to next week and the weeks after that. Interesting. Miles Brennan, true freshman.
Took a lot of snaps.
Lots of snaps in close situation.
Yeah.
It was 28-20 at one point. He was in the game. Only threw one. He threw an interception, but you got to get the first one out sometime. Yeah. So not really worried about that. He looked pretty good, but our problem is our offensive line.
Lots of injuries, lots of youth. Not to make excuses. I mean, every team has youth. Every team has injuries. But LSU's riddled with injuries and riddled with youth. New offensive coordinator. It's not clicking as well as we thought it was going to. I think playing the two cupcake teams at the beginning of the season didn't help because we saw them get rocked by Mississippi State, and then pulling off a 9-point win at Syracuse at home is not great, but it is a W. Stay at 3-1. Need help to win the West. They need Mississippi State to lose one more, and they have to beat Alabama in order to win the West. So still need a little help, but they are in the driver's seat.
Woo!
Very end of the last video, we did game UK hosting Florida. That's why it went under the chair. UK hosting Florida. I took the Wildcats. Holden took Florida. But if you watch the game, it was pretty incredible. You watch the game. Kentucky was up by 13. They were up 27-14 at one point, and they ended up losing 28-27 to Florida on two plays where Florida had a unguarded receiver on the outside. So they had their bunch formation and one receiver outside, and Kentucky either didn't have enough men on the field or the corner who was supposed to be guarding him just botched it. And one of the plays was to get into the goal line, and then the actual game-winning touchdown came on the same play of Kentucky leaving a guy wide open.
Talking about stealing a game, no pun intended. Actually, pun intended. Florida stole that game away from Kentucky, and
like some credit cards.
Yeah, loves to steal credit cards. They have 9 players facing 62 felonies.
That's fun.
That's just a team full of criminals, honestly. You don't have a very good pass. The only saving hope for Florida was Tim Tebow ever, but you got Aaron Hernandez.
They were 53-6. Florida was 53-6 with Tebow. Since then, they're like 48-35. They're like barely above 500 since Tebow left. He was the true GOAT. Yeah. So, and then quote of the week. This is the end of our video. But quote of the week: Mark Stoops, head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, said next game that they play, they're going to have 2 people responsible for making sure that there are no wide receivers unguarded on the edge. and that's the definition of a cornerback, in my opinion. So hopefully they have two cornerbacks, and hopefully those two cornerbacks make sure that if there are receivers out on the edge, either them or a safety is covering that receiver so they don't give up any bonehead touchdowns like they gave up 2 last week. Pause.
No, I'll just talk to him later.
Holden has a punishment coming.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say this. Bad first 3 weeks. Won't happen again. Didn't mean to let y'all down. I'm in recovery, so obviously we'll be better next week, but I'll just take this one like a champ.
Right to Holden's face. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Dr. Miller told
Right
me to
his
shave.
face. Dr. Miller, shave for Dr. Miller. That's it for Pittman's Breakdown. We'll see y'all in a couple days for this weekend's football.